Page, Kalishaw, Adonde, Flashkey,
East Coast, baby.
Pop, Quick, Fish, a campaign to bring in fans? I don't know about the show today. Let's go around the horn. Or let's not go around the horn if that's the campaign movement right now.
Let's get this over with.
Let's not do this.
Welcome to Around the Horn. Here's Tony Reali.
Hey now.
Hey now, question mark. West Coast bias on the East Coast today.
Yes, sir.
Jay in Miami for Heat Spurs. Plashkey in New York for Kings Rangers. Also was checking out the Derek Fisher press conference today with the Knicks. You look different in New York, Bill. It's that red background.
I feel a little more worldly.
Plashkey in red with an evil goatee like Troy and Abed. There's a mute. Let's go around the horn.
It's the first
Welcome
word.
to New York.
4 hours till Game 3 tips in Miami. 5 hours until the crowd gets there. I keyed. Pop's predicament on LeBron. Well, you can go double him if you want. He's a pretty good player. I'm going to guess he's going to find the open man. The Heat's quandary on LeBron. How to never take him out of the game. They're minus 24 when he's not playing this series, for cramps or otherwise. Woody, do the Spurs need to do more to neutralize LeBron, or should they keep on doing what they're doing?
No, I think they've got to make some changes, but they proved last year they could win in Miami. They won the first game that they played there last year. But I think that you can't put Boris Diaw, who was effective on LeBron in previous games, you can't put him on LeBron all the time because LeBron's figured out what Boris can do. So I think you've got to shift guys onto him. You don't double team him, and Popovich is right there, but I think they got to do a better job when he comes off the screens. Otherwise, offensively, they've got to move the ball more to be effectively. There was a timekeeper that 3 seconds is all it takes for them to move to 4 guys. If they continue to do that, they won't have any serious problems.
Kalishaw.
I don't know why you wouldn't throw some double teams at him, Woody, especially in the parts of the game where Kawhi Leonard's not on the floor and you're guarding him with Diaw or somebody else who's a little less efficient at guarding LeBron. What can it hurt? I mean, Pop says I think he can find the open man. Wouldn't you rather have that open man taking a lot of those shots instead of LeBron? People were all over LeBron when he found the open man and threw it to Bosch in Indiana, and he missed the shot. So those guys aren't going to hit all the shots. We know what LeBron can do if you don't double team him. So I'd be surprised. I wouldn't think they'd start out the game that way, but by the second quarter, I think they'll be running a lot of double teams at him.
I would pick him up a little bit earlier, maybe when he crosses half court, because he was being most effective in the third period of last game when he was pulling up early, and there's really no way to help and send a second defender when he's that far away from the basket. So that's incumbent on the guy who's guarding to pick him up a little earlier. But as Kawhi Leonard said this morning at shoot-around, he was making contested shots. It's not like he was wide open. They were still getting a handout on him. He was just that hot and that good. But pick him up a little earlier, force him to go deeper in the shot clock. If he's going to drive by you, fine. They have great rim protection in the back with Tim Duncan and Tiago Splitter. And also, they had multiple shot clock violations in Game 2. So force him to go deep into the offense and see if they have to rush a shot at the end.
Bill Plashkey.
All right, so, J.A., now we know that you did go to shoot-around today. Very, very good. Good for you.
Oh, my God.
But I think the important thing, though, is I give LeBron his points. He's going to score 35 points. I think it's the other guys you have to worry about. Well, while they're worried about LeBron, you know, Bosch is averaging 18. Ray Allen is averaging 12. Rashard Lewis is averaging 12. Bosch has 4 3-pointers, leads the team in 3-pointers. Everybody says, well, let LeBron throw to those guys. They'll miss it. They're not missing it. I think you let LeBron, he's not going to score 80 points by himself. I think you go ahead and keep playing him the way you're playing him and focus on other guys, get better runouts on the 3-pointers, focus on the other jump
Running out as defender to Bosch. Isn't that dangerous, though? It opens up the middle a little bit for LeBron to go to the hoop.
Yeah, but I think by that point, though, you've collapsed on him. You're too late. You got to get there earlier. You get on Bosch earlier, you'll be fine.
Page, back in.
Well, I think they've done an effective job, though. You mentioned everybody, Bill, but Dwayne Wade, and they have done an effective job on him, and they've more or less taken him out of the series so far. So you continue to do exactly what you're doing. Force him to shoot from outside. I think that will make a better situation for them.
I don't think the Spurs have any reason to make dramatic changes. They lost the game by 2 points where LeBron shot as well as he's going to shoot, and the Spurs went 0 for 4 at the foul line late.
Donde.
I try to make other guys beat me. Bosch said at shoot-around, Bill, that he has been working on his 3-point shot, but still, wouldn't you rather have him taking that shot than LeBron James?
No, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'd rather him not be taking that shot the way he's been shooting the ball. But I think the Spurs make adjustments and they win tonight.
Woody alluded to the last year's game where San Antonio won in Miami. They alternated wins. Teams did last finals. Plashkey, you just put a vote towards San Antonio.
Yes.
How about you, Woody?
San Antonio.
Kalishaw?
No, I think the Heat wins tonight.
Adande.
Miami tonight.
All right, split. We'll move on. Evan Roberts of WFAN's point guard rankings for New York basketball right now. Jason Kidd 1, Derek Fisher 2, and Darren Williams, Raymond Felton 3 and 4. Thought that was funny. Today, Fisher's introduction, his ensemble, his vision for the triangle offense with the Knicks. I love the triangle, but we'll do what we feel is best for the group. Flashkey, you got a question in today during that press conference. What do you think this hire means for the Knicks?
You know, I think it's a good hire for the Knicks. Again, my question was about the Lakers and why, he didn't go there. They didn't pursue him. It wouldn't have been a good, of course, it wouldn't have been a good fit for the Lakers, but it's a very good fit in New York. And as Phil mentioned, somebody talked about how can Derek get through to his team, and Phil said he can wear his 5 rings to the first practice. He has credibility with the rings. He knows these players from working with them in the Players Association, as the president. He has the experience. He has Phil behind him. He has a backing of Phil. I think if Derek ever has a chance to be a coach, to be a good start for a coach, this is a good place for him.
Adande.
It means you're getting the closest thing to Phil Jackson coaching. You're getting Phil by proxy. It means you're getting a guy that will be comfortable with Phil over his shoulder and guiding him and implementing some aspects of the triangle. Maybe he's a little hesitant to use a triangle because the roster might not suit it. We have to see what this team looks like before we see what type of offense he uses. Brian Shaw didn't run the triangle in Denver because he didn't thought it fit the players that he had. But I think it's good for them. I don't think it makes an impact on Carmelo Anthony's decision. He's got to make his decision based on where he thinks the best talent is that can get him a shot.
Well, I want to go deeper there, then, Jay. And you bring up the idea of the triangle, and Shaw didn't run it in Denver. Is there pressure for Fisher to run the triangle because Phil's right over his shoulder, and how does Melo play into all of that?
And it depends on the assistant coaches. One of the reasons Shaw doesn't do it is because you need to have coaches who are familiar with the triangle to help you instruct on it too. I just think it would help Carmelo Anthony if they do run the triangle because it sure seemed to work for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. They flourished running that triangle offense. So if I'm Carmelo, I'd be intrigued in running it.
Kalisha.
I think there's a certain arrogance to the move, which I guess is expected and okay if you're Phil Jackson. He basically comes to New York and says, I'll find you a coach. And then he doesn't look for anybody with coaching experiences. He tries Steve Kerr. He played for me for 5 years. I can't get him. I'll get Derek Fisher. He played for me for 9 years. That's all it takes in Phil Jackson's mind. But I think it's potentially a very good move because I think he sees Fisher as a good recruiter of free agents. The whole league knows him from his Players Association experience. Everybody trusts this guy. So I think players would see him as somebody they'd be willing to trust as a coach.
Woody.
Well, I also think that Derek Fisher is going to bring in assistant coaches with Phil Jackson that actually have head coaching experience. The names that I've seen have been Clemens, Cartwright, and Kurt Rambis. They all were head coaches. They all have an affiliation with Fisher and Phil Jackson. I think having Phil Jackson not only over your shoulder, but next to you at practices and in the film study, it makes for a good move. I think it's better than Steve Kerr, and I think that it's going to work well I think it's going to work well for the team, and that you're going to be able to bring back Carmelo because he's going to see what Jordan and Kobe did because they didn't really run the triangle offense. The rest of the players did. They did what they wanted to.
Flash you back in.
I think it's huge for Carmelo coming back because don't forget, Fisher's the one guy who was connected with Kobe Bryant. He was able to connect with Kevin Durant. He connects with stars. He understands his ego
there's a name
is lower.
right there.
Stars
Kevin
love
Durant.
him.
Fisher's history with Kevin Durant. Does that put the Knicks in any position going forward to maybe bring in free agents? Durant, namely, Flashkey?
Absolutely, because again, he's like the star whisperer.
Adonde, you nod your head on that as well? Good. Okay, so Adonde does nod his head. Good,
Connecticut. He's also telling Kevin Ollie he thinks he's going to enroll at UConn.
Kalisha, you give us a head nod or a shake?
We go to Adonde for the head nod. Fisher has a history with a lot of players. That's the point I was making about bringing in free agents.
All right, Paige has got 9. Kalisha's got 9. Adonde's got 10. Flashkey's got 10. We've been on. We're taking a break.
East Coast Fire.
Fire Cell next, coming up. Sue or sell, we'll call this segment. The Donald Sterling story. And Jonathan Quick last night. The best wall defense since Jon Snow. No? Nothing? Nobody saw.
Buy or sell.
Jonathan Quick allowed 65 goals in his first 23 games this postseason. You never know it last night. The wall look at these saves. He only needed 1 goal from his offense. He got 3 through bounce and through blade and through body. Lundqvist not catching a break last night. His save percentage in this series, .892. Woody, was last night about Quick being that good or Lundqvist being that unlucky?
Well, it's a little bit of each, but I think it's more about Quick being so good. if you look at it, the Kings have scored 6 consecutive goals. I think it's a remake of that 1995 film with Sharon Stone, Quick and the Dead, because one team is dead and one team has quick.
Point for your troubles. We'll move on.
Oh.
Go ahead, Kalisha.
Trouble, the operative word there. I think it's all about Quick and what he's doing, because he really hasn't been great in terms of what he was 2 years ago in the playoffs to this run. But last night he was, and last night everybody thought the Rangers, who led the whole way in L.A., would at least get back into the series. Quick didn't let it happen.
Everybody, including one panelist in Plasma 2 on yesterday's program, Adande.
I think people might see the 3 goals the Kings scored, and their basic instinct might be to blame Lundqvist. But, I mean, one of them came with 0.8 seconds to go. The fact that the Kings didn't have a lead in regulation in the first 2 games, I'm not going to hang this 3-0 deficit on Lundqvist for the series, not for the game.
Flashy, how about you?
I was fortunate enough to be sitting right above Quick during the second period when he saved 17 shots in the second period. It was unbelievable. And the Rangers had been deflated when that last second shot at the end of the first period by Carter went in. So this was like their whole Stanley Cup was that period. He stopped every one of them. He was huge.
The team, they were down 0-3 in the first round of this postseason. Now they're up 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals. And Flashky's been there for all this. Kalisha, commissioner of the NHL in this show.
The last 3 games.
I'm going to miss this whole thing.
Yeah. We'll move on. Donald
3
Sterling flip-flopping like an around-the-horn panel circa 2005. Oh! It's all right, guys. Now that Sterling is officially suing the NBA and the team is not for sale, and I must fight to protect my rights, and the deal is off, according to his attorney, what are you buying, what are you selling, Kalisha?
I'm buying that he was smart enough to put in there, while my position may not be popular. I think everybody can agree with that. And I'm selling the NBA not having this all taken care of when they canceled the meetings and just kind of assumed everything was going forward with the sale.
Jay?
You have to sell all of this, but I'm selling it having any impact on the Clippers players because I think they moved on. They were satisfied that Donald Sterling had been removed from the equation once Adam Silver banned him for life and fined him. In the second round series against Oklahoma City, they were really only thinking about it when the media asked.
That's the Clippers players. What about the Clippers franchise? What about this offseason, Jay?
I think they'll still be able to recruit players. They'll say, look, come visit our nice new shiny facility in Playa Vista. Do you see Donald Sterling around? No, his name has been taken down from what once was called Sterling Drive. So his influence is not felt around the franchise.
Bill, do you believe this hamstrings the franchise in any way?
Yeah, no, Jay, in fact, I don't agree with Jay at all. I'm buying the fact that this does going to affect the Clippers down the road, because you say the players, it only affects them when people ask about them. That's the only thing they ask about. And going into training camp, I can see if he's still somehow involved in this team, if he hasn't sold it yet, people are going to be asking about it. It war on him, Jay. You saw it firsthand. You saw how it's like a big burden on their shoulders. I think as long as he's around, and he'll be around for a while, it's going to burden the Clippers.
I'm selling J.A. buying Bill because I think it's going to have an effect that his name is still on the franchise and will be. As I've indicated all along, this is going to drag out forever. And Doc Rivers, I wonder what he's going to do if this is still hanging over the franchise when they report to camp. Those players are still going to be bothered by it. I think it just doesn't go away.
Buy or sell 3. You make the call right here. Mike Trout's home run or fan interference in a double or fan interference in a triple. Originally ruled a home run, overturned to be a fan interference double. Mike Scioscia wanted Trout at third base at the least because he would have been there if the ball caromed off the wall, Scioscia thought. He was tossed for arguing this. Buy or sell Scioscia's beef here, Jay?
I'm buying, you have to sell social beef, actually. I'm buying a violation of the fan for bringing a glove. I'm buying that it was fan interference. But Scioscia really had no right. If you looked at the replay, and that's what the umpires did, it clearly showed fan interference.
Yeah, I'm selling Scioscia's beef, but you can't blame him. He's seen Mike Trout do so many extraordinary things. Trout would have probably been on third base on that play. But there's nothing in the rules where the umpire can really give the guy a triple for that, in good conscience. So, no, Scioscia was wrong.
I'm buying bringing a glove to the game. Are you un-American, Jay? I'm buying his argument because he's right. Trout would have been in third base. I'm buying everything about this whole situation.
Kalisha.
I'm buying his beef, actually. I don't know how they look at that in New York and say definitively that ball was below the line when it was touched. I mean, it looks like it probably was, but I don't see how you can overturn it.
So you think it was one of those situations where the proof was not indisputable and you go with the original call?
Yeah.
Kalisha. Maybe disputable, but he's got enough to advance. Page. Pass at the end there. What's the last word, Woodrow?
We're wishing you the best. Amy Van Dyken. Love you.
You're well, Amy.
Absolutely. All right, Woodrow. Alshaw, Donde, Flashkey. We'll go out of bounds next and take a look at the commercial that will air in select cities during tonight's finals game, the Change the Mascot campaign. Flashkey and Adonde 18, Kalishaw 15. It's out of bounds.
It's out of bounds.
Strong, indomitable. Native Americans call themselves many things. The one thing they don't.
That's part of the commercial that aired Sunday night during Game 2 of the NBA Finals in the Miami market. It will air tonight, Game 3, in 7 other cities, including Washington, D.C. Bill, how significant can an ad like that be?
Tony, very significant. Of course, I'm sure you noticed the one word they did not use in the commercial. And this thing is very compelling. The fact that they're able to put the advertisement on a major sports event on major markets means there's finally a big money behind this movement, which is huge. Also, the fact that they would use the NBA as one of their platforms, it shows a complete dichotomy between the NBA, a league which is trying to take care of a racist owner, as opposed to the NFL, which does nothing but support racism among its nicknames of its teams. So it's very compelling.
Jay.
And Bill, when you hear the words that they do use and see the images that they use, you realize that is how you honor a people, not by using an offensive nickname that leads non-Native Americans to don headdresses and to paint their faces and basically mock the culture. And the fact that enough people care to spend enough money to air this ad, that's all you need to know, right? That should be indicative enough of that enough people are offended by the nickname that it should change.
Tim Kalishaw.
I think it's very powerful, and I think it's very educational if you see it in its entirety, because I've kind of wondered about it. I've read things, and I've seen polls even where it says Native Americans, a majority of them are not offended by the name. But then there's other stories that say, yes, they are. In this case, you see that a group has put something, and it's just when you see it all, it really is compelling. And, you know, I don't know if it'll have an effect on the NFL, but at least it's something going in the right direction.
This commercial put out by a tribe from California and also the National Congress of American Indians. So recently in this greater discussion, Flashy, we've seen 50 senators urge the NFL to force the team to change the name. And we've seen the franchise now, and Daniel Snyder, hiring a lobbying firm to defend the team name. The NFL, at some point, Bill, do they have to make a stand here?
Yes, they do. In the wake of what Adam Silver did with the NBA, I think Goodell's got to do something with the NFL. Yes, he does. I think he will.
Adonde 18, Flashkey 18, Kalishaw 15. The long break for you starts right now, Tim. This is your last show until July. What are you getting into?
As painful as this is, let me just pass the cup over to Mr. Flashkey. Here, drink from this.
The passing of the cup from Kalishaw, Flashkey, J.A. and Bill. That's our West Coast bias on the East Coast.
Thank you.
The Battle of Los Angeles, outside of Los Angeles, is showdown. Straight ahead. Nobody beats the Chiz.
Nobody beats the Chiz.
And the U wanting you to go to fewer games. What? How you guys digging your East Coast digs? You prefer it, Adonde? You get to the showdown. Flashkey, you like it in New York with the evil Metro team?
South Beach suits me well.
Showdown. Good luck to you both. Lonnie Chisenhall, 3 home runs, 5 hits, 9 RBI last night. No player in baseball history had ever gone 5 for 5 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. He's the first. Jay, which of the numbers stands out to you?
The 9 RBIs. You see 3 homer games. You see 5 hit games so far, but 9 RBIs, that's a lot. I wish it could have gotten that double digits, but 9 ribbies? Come on. How many times did you see that?
J.A. and RBI is a factor of who's on base. I'm going with just what he did individually, and that's the hit. 5 hits, 4 different counts, 4 different types of pitches. If he was qualified right now for a batting title, he'd be 50 points ahead of Alex Rios, second place in the American League. 5 hits is amazing.
5 hits is amazing. It's happened a few times before this season. 9 RBIs. What are we talking about here? J.A. gets the point. We'll move on. Miami Hurricanes football. New ticket selling campaign. Says right here, go to fewer games. For the fan who wants but can't commit to season tickets. Flashkey, what do you think of that campaign?
Oddly enough, I think it's brilliant because the biggest complaint I hear from season ticket holder friends of mine is, I can't go to all the games. How am I going to go to all the games? I'm not going to buy a season ticket. I can't make it every night. So this takes that pressure off of them and allows them to feel like a season ticket holder at their pace.
This puts some pressure on the PR department to keep their jobs. This is their idea of a way to sell tickets, go to fewer games. No, you want to always sell more, not the concept of less. Tell them you buy tickets to one of the bad games, you get to see Florida State. More for your bucks.
No.
This is so easy. Plashke, you want them to go to fewer games? Plashke, go to fewer FaceTime.
It doesn't matter if I'm in Santa Monica or South Beach, I still own L.A. over you, Plashke. And let me tell you, one of my favorite aspects, one of the lesser publicized aspects of the NBA Finals is in each city that they open a learning center in those towns during the Finals. There's one opening in Miami tomorrow. They did one in San Antonio last week. And it meant I got to see the chance to see Greg Popovich play Connect Four with some kids. The kids love seeing the players and the mascots, but they really loved Popovich. A kid even interviewed him. He gave him good answers. I told Pop was jealous. Pop didn't know what hit him, though, in that Connect Four. Someone hit him with the diagonal and beat him. He said, I didn't know you could do that. So Pop, you need to watch those commercials. Pretty sneaky.
I would own you in Connect Four, Dave. I would.
You don't owe me a showdown.
Is this a challenge? Is it going to be
diagonal?
Get it out. I'll go diagonal on you. Oh, yeah, I'll go diagonal.
That's going to do it, folks.
Oh,
Sexy
yeah.
coming around on a 23.5-hour break. We'll see you tomorrow around the horn. You guys are out of your mind.
You'd be wishing it wasn't.
I own L.A., even in Miami.
The next big thing, the next new kid, the next overnight sensation, the next rookie, one to watch, the next Hall of Famer, the next intimidator, the next six-time, the next king. Next. Who's next? Let's find out. Names are made here. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Michigan, Saturday at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN.